Here on Cambridge Stud Te Rapa Trials Day, we've come to the end of a long day and joined by Tony Pike, who ramping it up. Tony, I think 7 or 8 first time and nearly double that today.
Yeah, it's slowly starting to get there. There'll more come out in the woodwork in July. Plenty of nice young horses there. So yeah, a few of these today though, they'll head to the races in the near future.
Talking about plenty coming out of the woodwork, gee, there's some horses around, aren't there? We're have been a bit reactive. We've got another set of trials next week which we're going to need, but put in a race meeting mid-July, we're probably going to need another one.
Look, probably are. I think everyone is surprised by the support that we've got, and I think just everyone started from scratch. So, there's a lot of horses out there that, along with the good weather that we've been having, it's probably made the issue a little bit more of a concern going forward in the next month or two. But good to see plenty of horses out there, and there's going to be full fields for quite a while to come.
Much better than the other way around.
Oh, exactly. This time of the year we're normally all having a holiday, Butch, and small fields, but plenty of horses out there, and it's good going forward into the spring.
Righto, let's go through some today that are heading to the races pretty shortly. First of them, Hot Spring Project. Last seen when terribly unlucky at Trentham. Come back and trialled nicely today.
Butchered?
Or least.
Least. Yes. No, it wasn't his best work at Trentham. Extremely unlucky that day. Probably would have won another race, and in pretty quick fashion, and COVID hit. So he had a month off, and by trial today he's come back in great order and should be hard to beat here. And
didn't seem to mind the off track either.
No, won't mind an off track. Wouldn't probably want it much wetter than it was today. Dead 6 sort of slow 7 should be fine for him. And yeah, he's one to definitely have a nice bet on first up here. I think it's Te Rapa in 12 days time. River
Run's always showing plenty of ability. For a 5-year-old now, and might be just coming to it.
Yeah, nice horse, always had plenty of time for this bloke. Track's probably just caught up with him a touch over the summer months. I think James might have run second or third on him at Ellerslie on one of the big days, and yeah, he just didn't quite let go on the real firm ground. So these tracks are going to be ideal from going forward. Today was plenty sharp enough for him over the 900, but he's going to be a nice horse to follow through the later parts of the winter.
5-year-old by See the Stars was hitting the line really strongly in Heat 19. Be hard enough to beat Fresh Up, I'd say.
Yeah, nice horse back from Hong Kong. He ran third first up at Tauranga. Probably needed the run that day, had a good blow afterwards, but he pulled up very well today, and look, off today's trial he should be very hard to beat in the maiden race here.
How far we go with him? 12?
Probably go 1200, yeah.
Across to some of the tried horses, in particular Intrigue. She's a mare that you've always had tons of time with. She did a good job as a 3-year-old filly, and she looks like she's going to have more in front of her.
Yeah, we're hoping possibly to get her to Sydney just for some of the lesser sort of middle distance races, possibly getting into the early part of the spring, but she'll probably have a run here maybe at Ellerslie on the 11th, and then we'll just assess how she goes after that, but promising there going forward.
And she's one that does need cutting the track?
Definitely, we've had this discussion a few times with the Stock Andrew stewards, and she does just like that little bit of juice in the ground.
2 more to go through from today's trials. Arlington Gold, a 3-year-old by X Celebration, thought trialled really nicely in Heat 29.
Yeah, horse is going to be a nice horse once he gets up over a bit of a trip. We'll probably go 1400 metres first up with him somewhere. But a lovely big long action horse, didn't mind the ground today, and should be winning at short notice. And
Beyond Sacred, 3-year-old by Savabeel, so got everything on its side there, and I just thought was just in behind them doing its best work late, and might be one fresh up as well.
Yeah, bred to get over a trip. He's half brother to More Than Sacred, so the further the better for him. But Leith was pretty happy with his trial today, just ran out of room late, and he's pretty confident he can go close first up at 1400 metres.
You normally have been a part of the Queensland Carnival at this time of year, Tony. How's the withdrawal something?
Oh, it's not good, Butch. No, it's been very hard watching that for the last 2 months. We're probably just about ready to pack up our bat and ball and come home. Normally, the last couple of years with a big pile of cash in our pockets as well. So it's been a very hard watch, but look, hopefully everything settles down and we'll be back there next year.
Tell us about the synthetic at Cambridge progressing well. I know now it's getting to the stage where you need some people to be able to come back to put the actual synthetic on top of the base.
Yeah, look, that's the issue going forward. We've all had a look. It's looking fantastic. The campers are great. I think it's going to be a great asset to the Waikato. Look, obviously the COVID and the restrictions around travel, we're waiting for a couple of people to try and get an exemption to come over so that they can start mixing and laying the synthetic surface. So look, hopefully that doesn't hold us up too much longer.
And that weather that you spoke of before for the horses has been kind for that as well. I mean, remarkably, they're not far behind the 8 fall, even with the whole stop for COVID.
yeah, look, they actually could have finished a week in front even with the lockdown for the 4.5, 5 weeks. So yeah, look, the weather's been very kind to them. They've hardly missed a day, and they've done a super job from what we've seen. So yeah, that's not the issue, but just getting the boys over the border.
Indeed. Pikey, thanks for the catch up. We'll look forward to seeing you here with a few runners, and hopefully we can find a winner out of those on the 4th of July.
Well, here's hoping.
Cheers, Pikey.
Thanks, mate.